1040. Of course, you know that's the date, not the time, don't you? 1040. A man called Donoghy MacCrinnan was Ard Rianalapa, the High King of Scotland. Now, Donoghy, he wanted to expand his kingdom. To the north of Inverness, was the Jarldom of Thorfinn Sigurdsson, the Jarl of Orkney. To the south, I think it was Sibbald, who I mentioned, yeah, it was Sibbald, who I mentioned earlier on. Sibbald held the south of Scotland, and Donoghy wanted to expand in both directions, and he tried to expand in both directions at once. He lost 4 major battles. Now, he had a 5th battle. He was ready to fight it, and he was fighting it in a place called Moriv, which is modern Inverness-shire, if you want, partially Aberdeenshire and Inverness-shire. Now, the Mormaer, remember the sub-king, the Mormaer of Moriv was one Malvaea MacFinlay. Now, Malvaea MacFinlay should have been Donoghy's general, but there's no mention of him. That's very, very strange. Anyway, Donoghy has the battle. He loses the battle. He loses it outright. Now, under the laws of Tanistry, he has failed miserably. He makes his escape, but he's chased down. Some people actually think it was Thorfinn Sigurdsson. He was fighting Thorfinn at Burg Head. Some people think it was Thorfinn that actually chased him down, caught him at a place called Bal na Gowan, the blacksmith's house, at near Elgin, and killed him there, killed the king. There's actually Donoghy's stone, Clack Donoghy, at the spot where he was murdered. Anyway, the next thing we know, remember that Malvaea MacFinlay that I mentioned, that should have been the general at the battle, because he was the king of that area. Well, he was being rushed down to Scone Palace. Scone is where all the kings of Scotland were inaugurated, and Malvaea was crowned Ard Rianalapa by popular support of, well, most of the Mormaers. Now, this is at a time when Scotland, well, in Europe, it was very, very turbulent. There was battles, there was warfare going on everywhere. The next thing we know about Malvaea is it was written in the Irish annals that the king of the Scots was giving money to the poor on the streets in Rome. He had went on pilgrimage to Rome. That must have taken at least 2 years. Now, what happened back in Scotland? Donoghy had been attacking Thorfinn in the north, he had been attacking Sibbald in the south, and yet there was no reprisals at all from either side. Written in the Orkney sagas, which are similar to all the Celtic books I've been talking to you about, Viking history books. It was written that Thorfinn Sigurdsson was also in Rome at the same time. Now, doesn't that sound like the two of them were allies? Now, there is very few facts about a true story that I'm actually telling you here. This is not any sort of mythology or anything. This is a true story I'm telling you. But the facts are very unclear. So I'm giving you in a kind of story form and a sort of matter of fact form as well. Okay, so Donoghy and Thorfinn were both in Rome at the same time. There was no reprisals. It was one of the times when Europe was at its most warfare going on, tumulus. I don't think that's not the right word, is it? It's turbulent. There you go. I'm only half-daft. Anyway, it's difficult talking, driving and thinking. But anyway, they were able to leave their countries alone for somewhere in the region of, it must have been at least a year and a half it took to do a pilgrimage to Rome. Now, back in Scotland, round about 1044-45, Crinnan, remember the murdered king's name? Donoghy MacCrinnan. That means Donoghy, son of Crinnan. The Mac means son. So the king's father, who was the abbot of Dunkeld and the Mormaer of Flotta, which is Perthshire, he decided to try and wage war against the king Macberh. But of course Macberh had support from all the other Mormaers and was able to deal with Crinan very, very easily. So it was a no contest for him. Now, Macberh actually ruled for 17 years, a long time considering the kind of what he was surrounded by. The Danes to the south, Vikings to the north. It was obvious that Thorfinn and Macberh had a pact together. There was no war ever between them during that point, and nobody attacked Scotland. The Danes did not attack Scotland from the south. Sewell kept his distance. But one of the things that Macberh done, he reiterated an ancient Celtic law, saying that anybody in the community who is incapable of looking after themselves will be cared for by the community. What they had communal tracts of land, and wheat and grain or whatever it was that they needed would be grown there and held in a store, so that anybody, the sick, the elderly, that could not look after themselves would be fended for by the community. 1,000 years ago, health and social security, isn't it? That was the Celtic way, looking after their own. They were very sociable people. Now, in 1054, Donoghy, the murdered king, he had a son, and his son was down in the court of Edward the Confessor, the English king. Now, up in Scotland, it was tribalistic laws of tanistry that held true, but down in Edward the Confessor's court, it was feudalistic law. Edward was looking after Milcolm, Donoghy's son, and he was saying to him, what are you going to do about this upstart, this usurper who has killed your father and stole your crown? Because that's how Edward saw it. He didn't understand the laws of tanistry, that Donoghy done a bad job, get rid of him, get somebody in who will do a good job. Didn't understand it, or probably understood it but just didn't accept it. It wasn't his way. He then offered Milcolm a massive army led by Sewell of Northumbria to move into southern Scotland. Now it's said that they came by ship and landed actually round about just where Lucas was, just kind of round about that area, just opposite us at St Andrews. And there they found Macberh just moving inland a bit, just beyond Lucas, up towards Dundee, just beyond Dundee, that's what I meant to say. They found Macberh, Ardrey and Alapa at a place called Dunsinane, which is a fortress. The word Dun is actually Dun, it should be pronounced, and it's a Celtic fortress, an ancient Celtic castle. They're made without cement. They look a little bit like these dry stone walls at the side here, but the walls are extremely thick and extremely high. They're about 3 metres thick and about 5 metres high, with just one tiny little entrance in it, but very, very elaborate inside. There was a staircase up through the wall to the top of it, and chambers that you could put food in where they would be kept cool in the stone walls. Anyway, Dunsinane is where Macberh was. Now, there were still supporters of Crinan who had word that there was going to be a landing, and they began to come down from about 12 miles to the northeast, northwest, sorry, from about 12 miles to the northwest. They headed down to intercept, so it was going to be a pincer movement at Dunsinane. These people coming down from there, they passed through the Great Burnham Wood. On the way they collected rowan branches, okay, very significant. Came down with the rowan branches. There was a great war, the Battle of Dunsinane, 1054. Now, the next record we have is in the Irish Annals again, where they say the King of the Scots lay bleeding on the flare at Scone. The King of the Scots is bleeding on the floor at Scone Palace. Now, Milcolm, he has headed south again. He didn't make good any sort of victory, so Macberh's injuries obviously weren't enough to make Malcolm move in and take over. But what we know is Milcolm at this point headed up the Great Cairnmouth Road, an ancient drove road, an ancient cattle drovers road, which is a very difficult road. Still in this day and age, it's a difficult road to drive up. He headed up that road and moved up to his old kingdom of Macberh in the north of Scotland, where he consolidated his strength up there. And it's thought that Milcolm at this point probably held southern Scotland. 3 years later, Milcolm headed on up the Cairnmouth Road, and in a day of running battles, 1057, Milcolm was killed by, Macberh was killed by Milcolm. Okay, just a little point here. Milcolm means follower of Christ. I've gone and forgot. The other one means follower of life. Macberh, that's it. Macberh means follower of life. That's what the names actually mean. Now, immediately, the other Mormaers take Lulach, who was Milcolm. I'll get myself mixed up here. I'm on with too many males. Macberh, right. Macberh, his stepson Lulach was taken to Scone, and he was crowned Ard Ri Alapa. Now, poor Lulach, he ended up with the name the Simpleton for all of time because of what he done next. He is said to have wandered into the camp of Milcolm seeking peace and was never ever seen again. In other words, he wandered in, they've killed him. The following year in 1058, Milcolm crowns himself not Ard Ri Alapa, but actually High King of Scotland. Oh, another one of the tour buses here is now trying to cut me up. A wee second here, got to concentrate the driving. Yeah, so the following year, Milcolm crowns himself High King of Scotland. It's one of these transitional periods that I've been telling you about all day long. It's the end of the Celtic era. Macberh was the last of the true Celtic kings. He was replaced by the first of the feudalistic kings of Scotland, because Malcolm had grown up in a feudalistic society in England. It didn't all happen overnight, but it happened over, well, the next couple of centuries. We lost the old Celtic kingdom and became the feudalistic kingdom of Scotland. Anybody tell me who I was talking about, by the way? I used the Gaelic names. Duncan the First, Malcolm the Third, and Macbeth. That's the true story of Macbeth, or at best that we can put it together.